so-called tolerance people trying to ban a book because it denounces genocide.
Well, the hypocrisy is really beyond measure when it comes to these people. They've been at it for a long, long time, and they manipulate the media. They own most of the media, so it makes their job very easy. When you mix into that soup, control the mass entertainment media as well, motion pictures most specifically, you can understand how generation after generation are being literally mind-controlled and mind-engineered to the extent that if you say anything, in many cases, against Israel or Jewish Zionist policy vis-a-vis Israel, you're immediately jumped upon, not only by Jews, but by non-Jews as well, as being some sort of a bigot. It's quite a feat they've come up with.
Yeah, but really, we were only talking about, in the U.S., about 6 or 7 families. I mean, they changed their names, they're interbred, but they're the descendants of the bankers who took over the Fed in 1913. I had to go back to those eras to find the data, but in 1918, the 10 richest men owned 70% of the economy. So we're talking very few people who are like kings and who control most of your money, and you don't see them. They hide behind this elaborate camouflage you think of as your economy.
Sure, and they met at Jekyll Island and came up with they hatched the Fed, and they hatched, they've been at it for a long time, as I've said, and we all who study history understand at least the basics of it.
Yeah, but if the American people sort of took that back, I would say there would be immediate windfall of about $100,000 for every man, woman, and child in the country.
Oh, at least. Excuse me, but let me say one other thing about the so-called Iraq War, which has been nothing less than a genocidal annihilation of a people, a culture, which goes back thousands of years, and a country. This is one of the biggest outrages, the biggest perversions of human values that I've ever seen. But if we were to take the money that Bush and Cheney and those incredibly evil people have spent on the Iraq-Afghanistan wars, and again I use the wars advisedly, we would have enough money to pay for universal health care for all Americans for about 15 years right now. And if you don't believe me, just go see the movie Sicko and then do the math.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the other thing, these people, they've been draining money out of the Americans for years now, and the Japanese, for some secret project. I mean, what they do, for example, they have a monopoly on oil. So they got together and they said, all right, we'll take turns. One person said, oh, geez, our refinery's kind of rusty. We'll have to shut it down. And then next guy's turn. Oh, geez, we got a hole in our pipeline. We have to shut down. And they crank up the prices artificially. And what they're doing is they're draining money out of all the Americans' pockets.
Sure.
To finance some secret project.
No, it's a parasite, and they're bleeding the American public and the Japanese public. I remember very well the convenient Alaska pipeline leak, which popped up, and prices went up. And you're right. And the story now is that the refineries are old, they're antiquated, they're at maximum capacity, they haven't been upgraded in years, and are not able to handle the demand. Well, it's a bunch of crap, all of it. And you're right. You're 100% correct.
But in any case, these people are in severe trouble. Now, most Americans remain brainwashed, but they know something is wrong. They're 80% against the Congress and the president.
Congress has an approval rating, by the way, Ben, of 14% here. That's it.
So in other words, even though they don't know exactly what is wrong, they know something is very wrong. And so now these people are very, very isolated. They've lost Russia. They don't control, the whole world is against them. Their own people are against them. They are in extraordinarily deep trouble. And I'm offering to sort of save their asses if they will, retire gracefully. And otherwise, they're going to be doomed. I've already saved Rockefeller's life twice now. When the Chinese approached me first, they were talking about, starting off by killing 200 of those people and then starting negotiations. I said, no, I'm not a gangster. I'm not against killing. No, don't do that. Let's talk to these people first. And so I talked on your show, and when a senior member of the Japanese security police told me that because of what you leaked on the Internet, they're going to attack Niigata with their earthquake machine. I said, oh, come on, I don't believe that. And then boom, 2 days in succession, identical earthquakes right on the nuclear power plant.
When were you told this, Ben?
Before it happened, after I appeared on your show, and I put stuff out on the Internet about the Illuminati.
Well, I think your journalist experience tells you that the technology certainly exists to do something like that. Earthquake faults are targets. They can be made to slip.
And I got an email saying you got your answer back. And so the Chinese are saying, okay, well, let's move now. Let's do it. They've made their moves. And I said, no, because they don't understand how powerful these people are, what they can do. They're underestimating the danger they're in. I'm the only thing standing between them and total death, oblivion for their whole clan. And I'm not talking about the Jews here. I'm talking about this secret group of Satanists. They can all be wiped out in a matter of days. And I'm saying, no, please. I cried about the deaths in the gut. I said, oh, geez, these people died because I'm trying to save these rather nasty people's lives. So I'm going to give them one more chance. I'm going to invite David Rockefeller to meet me at Fulford Place in Brockville, Ontario, Canada.
All right, stand by right there, Ben. We'll come back in just a minute. All right, welcome back. And I would urge all of you to take a listen to this program. It is already fascinating. We'll have it up for you to listen to free again. Hopefully we'll get another transcript up for you to study and pay close attention. Now, Ben Fulford has just dropped another foot and said that he is calling for a meeting. Let's back up a little bit and revisit that and lay it out on the table clearly. Okay,
here's what's happening. I'm the only thing standing between them and the most horrible, something worse than they can imagine. I am their link to survival. And they need to understand that very clearly. I'm their best friend. I'm offering a meeting with David Rockefeller. And I'll be expecting a friendly answer within 48 hours. Otherwise, I'll have to move on to Plan B. And let me tell you, beyond Plan B, there's plans all the way up to Z and beyond. Because there's no stopping this.
Let's talk about Plan A. Now, where would you like this meeting to occur? You want to hear from them in 48 hours. We don't have to give a contact phone number. They know exactly where you are. So where do you want the meeting to occur?
Well, at the old Fulford Mansion in Brockville, Ontario. It's now a Canadian Government Museum, but I thought it would be appropriate,
GT's former home?
Yeah, it's a major tourist attraction now. And anyone up in that part of the world, Brockville, Ontario, I recommend it. It's a very interesting place to visit to see how the robber barons lived at the turn of the century.
Pretty appropriate idea. All right. Okay, now, for the record, and from a journalist position over here, I must say that after your first visit, many people, I would suggest a huge number of people around the world were rather elated by the potential of something on the planet that could stand up to these evil Satanists, Zionists, whatever you want to call them, and stop them. Some would also suggest that the removal of one or two of them, or 10 of them, or 100 of them, these being the most evil people on the planet, who would be a very small price to pay for peace and an end to the genocides of us regular type folks going back 200 years, and in the case of Iraq, now totaling probably over 2 million people since Bush 41 was in office and first invaded Iraq in the early 90s. Now, what are the lives of human beings worth? Is a mother in Baghdad's life worth the same as one of the top evil Satanist kingpins on the planet? I would suggest yes. I have always been an equal opportunity mourner, so to speak. They, of course, don't view it that way. So just so you'll know, the response here was from many people, hell yes, I hope the Asians do something to stop what's going on. We can't get our Congress to do it. Our administration is no longer our administration. It is out of control, and we need some help. That was the response I generally received.
Yeah, well, I think that the whole world is going to come to help. I mean, everybody's reached the point of no return, and, these people are desperate. They're planning something horrendous in August, and that's not going to be allowed to take place. We all know when Congress recesses, these people are in danger, they're cornered, and the reason why I was against just killing a few of these people first is because you could start a tit for tat, and they control enormous destructive potential. That little earthquake machine was an example. So, I'm hoping to get them to, gracefully back down, and we can start running this planet in a more sane manner.
Well, we all do. We agree on that 100%, Ben. And for those of you who didn't notice, I hope you did. I had a lot of stories about the Japanese earthquakes, and there were several of them. Took the world's largest nuclear power plant out of commission. It was the leaking and damage was far worse than we were told. Big surprise, eh? Took it offline for at least a year. That's what the experts are saying. It'll take a year at